Tonight on the Harmony of the Seas, we are dining at Wonderland. If you don't know, we do dining reviews every single Monday, so be sure to check those out. So here at Wonderland, this is Imaginative Cuisine. So it's actually inspired by Alice in Wonderland, and the Imaginative Cuisine, you and us both will see what this all is. But to start out, our menus come out in like a picture frame, and it says Wonderland at the top, but there's no menu there. So they actually give you a paintbrush, which you dip in water, and you paint the water on your menu, and then the menu is revealed to you. This is very cool. So here at Wonderland, this is a very unique restaurant. It is the first on this ship, the Harmony of the Seas, the first gastronomic restaurant at sea. And it's actually only one of 4 on any cruise line, and actually all 4 gastronomic restaurants, which are all Wonderlands, are on Royal Caribbean ships. Like I said, this is Imaginative Cuisine, so it's very unique, very creative. The ordering process was very different as well. So we were able to see our menus and see selections. So there's like 5 sections on the menu. There's sun, ice, fire, earth, and sea. But basically how we ordered was a little bit different. He kind of went through some questions and asked us what we like, what we don't like, if we have any allergies, that sort of thing. And he was like, I'm just going to bring you appetizers, the best of the best. I will bring you the desserts, the best of the best. And then he did let us choose our entrees. There were 5 different entrees, 2 different fish, a chicken, a pork, and a beef. And I'm really excited to see how this goes. He said the presentation is pretty unique and like almost like incredible for a dining experience. So we're excited to see how this all unravels. So our first appetizer is the bird's nest. It comes out under a dome, and when they lift it, all this smoke comes out. They use apple wood for the smoke, so it kind of gives you that nice applewood smoked flavor in there. There's also noodles to make it look like a nest, and then there's some cocoa powder on top. There's also some blue cheese. They are like almost like a hard-boiled egg on there, and then they use some like hot sauce and sriracha on the top. So there's a lot of ingredients that come to these appetizers, and the presentation is amazing. So I was really excited about this bird's nest. I didn't realize it was the one that comes out from under the smoke, so I'm really excited to try this.
Oh wow, that is really good. That is an upscale deviled egg right there. And the best part is that smokiness from the apple wood chips. Really gets infused, not necessarily in the egg white of it, but it is really, really infused within that whipped egg yolk, and it is very, very good. One of the best eggs I've ever had.
It's like one of the best eggs I've probably ever eaten in my life. I am getting a kick of heat at the end from the like hot sauce that's on the top and like the sriracha, but the flavor together is really good, and that egg inside kind of like mellows it out a little bit and like helps with that spiciness. But the egg is cooked perfect. There's also a nice little crunch on the top. There's like a little like almost breadcrumb on there. Wow. I cannot believe how much I like that. I was like, oh, this is like a hard-boiled egg. How good can this be? But that is amazing. And then we have a jumbo shrimp. It's wrapped in the same noodles that makes up the bird nest. And then the sauce on the side is heavy cream, lemon, lime, honey, and sriracha. This all looks really good, so we need to start digging in.
I tried the shrimp that's wrapped up in the noodles. Pretty good. But that sauce that they serve on the side is not like your typical sauce. It's very light and it's very airy. It's more of like an aioli, but whipped, super, super airy. I don't even, I'm having a hard time to like really describe it other than it is extremely airy. And it's good. A little bit of lemon, a little bit of lime. I don't get a ton of sweetness from the honey, but you definitely get a little bit of kick of that sriracha at the back.
That sauce on the side is amazing. And the shrimp, it almost makes it like, sort of like what you would expect with a tempura batter, but it's a lot more crunchy. It is really good. And the shrimp is cooked perfect, nice and tender. So our next 2 appetizers came, and we actually had our server, Eric, tell you what it is, because it's really hard for us to remember all these ingredients because there's a lot of components to these dishes, but they're amazing.
This our crab cones. Everything's edible also. So your cones are made from the same noodles. It's from kataifi noodles. Sauce on inside would be fried seaweed, which is called nori in Japan. The green puree is lemon and avocado. Inside is Alaskan king lobster and a ball of wasabi at the end, at the tip of the cone. And then for our liquid lobsters, the small things on top would be caviar. It's our tuna caviar. Sauce is lobster bisque with heavy cream. The rolled cylindrical shape is Alaskan lobster. Inside is cooked bone marrow. So it's a very earthy and savory flavor. So cones and lobsters.
Very light. A nice crab flavor in there from the meat. Balanced really well with that avocado and a little bit of a, not really a bit of a heat, but a little bit of kick from the wasabi down at the bottom. And the cone is actually the same, is made basically the same stuff that the noodles are made out of. It's good. A nice element of crunch from the actual cone itself, but then you get that nice smoothness of the avocado and a nice, firm, well-cooked crab in there as well. It's a whole bunch of flavors that just blend perfectly together.
The lobster is very tender. You get that nice lobster bisque flavor. And then that caviar that's on the top actually gives it a nice little bit of saltiness, but not too much because there's just a little bit on there. But that was a very good like single bite appetizer. I actually didn't try the cone yet. The avocado gives a really nice creaminess to this cone, and then the texture from the actual cone itself mixed with like the sweetness of the crab meat. Oh my, that was like a very interesting bite, but a really good bite. But I think so far out of the appetizers, the egg was actually my favorite thing so far. And then I love the sauce that comes with that shrimp.
All right, so basically what we have here is our last appetizer for the meal. And this is supposed to be more of the palate cleanser. We have got what is probably more or less a lemon sorbet on top, with some caviar on top of that. And I believe, did you say this was more like a smoothie on top?
It's a very strong smoothie, yes.
Very strong smoothie on top.
Oh, one hole. You're gonna get brain freeze from that.
It's good. I think it's a little bit on the bitterness of the side of it. So it's not like a straight lemon sorbet. There's definitely like a lemon lime in there. I think he said there was some sriracha and honey that's also mixed in there as well. But definitely a little bit of a bitterness to it. Okay, so now the inside of the lime you're supposed to scoop out and put on a cracker. So bear with me on lighting. Now inside here is supposed to be kind of like a mix of tuna. Ooh, some sriracha, lime, a little bit of honey as well. Smells fantastic. Oh, a little bit of a bite in there back towards the end, but it is smooth. The cracker adds a little bit of texture overall to the bite, but it is like a, this might sound really weird, but it's almost like a creamy sushi. And I love it. I would come back and get that again if I could.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. So let me tell you, this is really funny because I think it was this afternoon, Josh said to me, Taylor, I don't know if you're gonna wanna go to Wonderland. We might have to cancel this reservation. And I said, why? And he said, well, because I don't think you're gonna like anything that's on the menu. I said, well, let me look at the menu. And I looked through the menu and I'm like, you know what? I was like, I wanna go, I wanna be adventurous, basically. I have loved everything so far, and that like palate cleanser was amazing. I loved the lime in like that sorbet. Josh said he thought it was really bitter. I actually really liked that lime flavor. It was more sour to me than it was bitter, but I loved that it was like so cold and frozen.
All right, for the pork belly, we have here our, oh, there you go. At least you have more light, right? Crispy pork belly, we dehydrated it. It's more, not very oily. Then we baked it to a very crispy texture. Your sauce is apple and tamarind, chicharrones, served with chicharrones, fried green kale, and green apples, grated potatoes at the bottom, and some sample applesauce. So this is a very savory and sweet dish. You hear it cracking?
Oh yeah.
That's why we call it snap, crackle, and pork. That gives it the name, the sound comes from it.
So I normally get steak to eat when we go out, if that is an option, or whatever the beef may be. But tonight I got the pork, and this is actually really good. I like the sauce that goes along with it. It's like a very savory dish. There's not a lot of sweetness here, but the texture of the pork, it's just so tender. It's not fall apart tender, but it's very tender. And this is more like a pork belly. And then there's a little bit of crunch with the like little chips and like the chicharron they have with it. And then there's a little bit of extra sauces around the outside. Everything, you gotta try and get everything together so you get that full like flavor profile. And this is really good. I am glad I went with something other than beef for once in my life.
Your branzino. This is what the honey, lemon, and tamarind sauce with a crispy bread, steamed branzino at the bottom. It's served with fried rice, cooked in coconut milk and baby bok choy. There you go. Very thick and creamy sauce. So it's gonna sip into your bread, making it very juicy.
So for my entree, out of the 2 fish options, I chose to get the branzino. This is a Brazilian sea bass, and it's served over a bed of fried rice. Honestly, the presentation here for this one, I was a little underwhelmed. Not really a great like presentation for a restaurant like this, but hopefully the flavor combinations will be bomb.com. They've got this nice sauce and has a very like honey, ginger, soy flavor to it. So we'll try it. So flavor combination here is pretty good. I will say that I'm a little bit underwhelmed by it. But what is neat and kind of different is that how they prepare this fish, a nice crispy fry to it. And then you have the fish that's underneath that, and combined with the sauce and the rice, well actually really the sauce adds a little bit of sweetness to it overall. It's pretty good.
And what I call this the global warming, right? The salted caramel syrup. The globe is made of rich Belgian chocolate. Right? Let's wait for it to melt. There you go. Unveiling your salted caramel ice cream. Below that is vanilla chocolate mousse. And the paste or the base is made of peanut butter on a bed of Rice Krispies dipped in milk and cream with freshly cut strawberry.
The first dish was very rich and had a nice blend of chocolates, peanut butter, and butterscotch. I actually really thought that the butterscotch would be too overwhelming because as he started to pour, pretty strong smell of the butterscotch. But it's actually pretty well balanced between everything. Even after it pretty much all melted, I was still getting some like scoops in there, and it was good.
It's a forbidden apple. It's made of raspberry strawberry mousse. Inside is coconut and creme brulee with your sugar-free vanilla frozen yogurt. And the golden dust is made of graham crackers with freshly cut strawberries.
Perfect.
Very rich in flavors. This will calm it down. It's going to be very fruity and calm. So there's a balance of rich and fruit.
The second dish, however, the apple, that's not my thing. Flavor-wise, profile I think is really good. It's balanced, has a nice amount of sweetness in there, and if you want to balance that sweetness out from the actual dessert, it is served with a sugar-free yogurt, and then they've got some golden dust graham crackers around the side. This is an extremely light and airy dish. That is why I don't really like it. It's the consistency of it itself. I don't like that texture. So it's good if that's what you're into, but for me, that's not my thing.
So between the 2 desserts, I preferred the more chocolate rich dish over the more light apple-shaped fruitier dish. I also kind of didn't like the texture of the apple. It was very like light and airy. Not, I want to almost say panna cotta, but like not exactly. It was just a little bit different than a dessert I would normally eat. And the yogurt was a sugar-free yogurt. It kind of tasted like a Greek yogurt, but I really did enjoy the chocolate caramel dish. It was a lot of caramel on there because they had to melt the dome at the beginning, but I really liked the flavor and like the richness of that dessert.
All right, so we just finished eating here at Wonderland.
It was actually pretty awesome.
Surprisingly pretty good. It's an experience.
Yes.
And I think you have to be a little bit adventurous. You have to want to try something new, and you know, you're never gonna know if you don't like something if you don't ever try it. So
yes.
This is an additional charge. This is not a restaurant that is included.
Yeah, specialty
so
restaurant.
Take that into consideration, but I definitely think that it is worth at least trying one time.
Yeah, there were a couple of tables around us, and I heard them saying like, "Oh, you have to be adventurous to eat here." But like, we kind of chatted with them a little bit before we left, and they said they were enjoying everything too. So yeah, really cool.
And you know, the other thing about it too is that like the wait staff will come by and ask you questions. I think Taylor had already explained this earlier, but they're going to serve you based on what you answer. So if you don't like fish, if you don't like shrimp, if you have an allergic something or other, they're going to serve you stuff accordingly to make your experience a little bit better. With that being said, being that you are paying for this, if they serve you something that you don't like, just ask for something else. If you want to try something else, I'm sure that they will be more than happy to bring it out for you.
I am so glad we tried this out.
Yeah, and if you come here, if you're here on Harmony and you're going to try it out, I would suggest that you ask for Eric with a K from Philly.
He was awesome.
But he's actually from the Philippines, not Philly, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he tricked us with that. So let us know if you have ever dined at Wonderland on one of the 4 Royal Caribbean ships.